Welcome to your NerdSpace Wrap Up for the 1st to the 10th, 2016. I'm Bryan, and joining me, of course, is Chidgey and Deege. Quick wrap up of today's events. Most of us were playing Magic and board games, but there was one large D&D campaign going on. Do you want to give us a quick crash course on what happened, Deege?
Definitely. It was pretty insane. We had heaps of people there, which was very cool because we wrapped up adventuring through the Amber Temple. And when they returned to the seemingly impenetrable guild hall, it was attacked by demons, which was awesome. So they fought off demons and they were swinging off chandeliers and crushing them down on things. It was amazing. And then they got told that next time they're adventuring to the bowels of hell to kill the god of madness. So that will be our final D&D session, which will be the last event of the year, the last event in November, is the party will be adventuring through hell to kill the god of madness.
If they're successful in doing said maneuver, is that going to affect... Does the world reset next year, or is that going to be like an effect that carries over into the world?
It'll definitely be an effect that carries over into the world. So not sure what it's going to look like next year, what's going to happen. But yes, the actions that they undertake or choose not to undertake for the next adventure will definitely change the landscape.
It's very cool.
I think this is extremely cruel because I was the one who created the God of Madness as my character when we created the world, so I think this might be a bit vindictive.
Maybe just a little bit.
Alright, so that's basically our news. We had a record turnout today though, so that was excellent, and thank you to everybody who turned up. And please do come back to our next event where we will be hopefully running a Magic tournament. It looks like it's going to be a draft as opposed to Kaleidoscope. Those details will become available on all your regular sources as soon as we can. But before we talk too much more about NerdSpace, more importantly, Kaladesh is out. So Kaladesh is the new Magic the Gathering set. Just became standard legal on Friday, and we have 3 packs here, provided very generously by Chidgey, that we're going to crack and see if we can hit money. Would you like to give it a go, Chidgey?
All right, here we go.
Because this went so well last time.
Well, it'll be a bit different this time. We've got real sets,
yeah,
not just
actual
a mystery
cards.
pack.
Oh, I see foil.
Oh, so first thing, I got a foil forest, which is always good. Just point that out because that's like a bonus card in the pack, not even part of the count. And then my rare is the Authority of the Councils, a 1-drop enchantment for white mana. Creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped, which winner chicken dinner. And whenever a creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, you gain 1 life.
So there's already the sort of basis for a white permission deck in standard with Thalia, who has a similar effect on creatures and non-basic lands. So those two together are going to be brutal.
Yeah, just make everyone tap when they come in. Just keep them tapped out like there's no tomorrow, and gain life while they're doing it.
Shall I open a pack?
Do it.
Yeah. All right. Of course, if you're not aware, so the new set, much like Zendikar had its expedition lands, this set has what are called masterpieces. So there are either special printings of standard legal artifacts or, more importantly, legacy artifacts such as the Sol Ring. And then, of course, you've got modern playable ones such as Aether Vial and Cloudstone Curio. So let's see what I crack. And I've got Confiscation Coup. So this is a sorcery for 3 blue. Choose target artifact or creature. You get 4 energy counters. Then you may pay energy equal to the permanent's converted mana cost. If you do, gain control of it. So energy is a really interesting new mechanic. Essentially, multiple cards will give you energy that's essentially a new resource. But individual cards will give you the energy and give you an outlet for the energy on effects such as this. So outside of Kaladesh, this just reads, take control of card with CMC 4 or less. But within Kaladesh, it can essentially go higher. Shall we open a 3rd pack?
Alright, my turn. And... oh, I've got a foil Dund operative. Dund? I don't know. Alright. Oh, and I've got Saheeli Ray. Very cool. I like that.
What's her effect?
So she's a planeswalker. +1, her +1 ability, Scry 1, and she deals 1 damage to each opponent. Very cool. Neg 2, create a token that's a copy of target artifact or creature you control, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. That token gains haste, exile it at the beginning of the next end step. Awesome. And Neg 7, search your library for up to 3 artifact cards with different names, put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library.
So people
Awesome.
have been inventing infinite combos with her second ability.
Yeah.
Because you can essentially, there is cards, it's a dumb combo, but you basically make her an artifact, copy herself, legendary rule takes effect, you can now use her to bring something back else again, basically making an infinite number of hers.
That's incredible.
And then you have something that takes interest in the fact that she's entering constantly, and then you win.
That is amazing.
So dumb.
That is,
and it's not
really
viable
awesome.
in anything. But it's a really neat little trick. And of course, the ultimate is just commander bait.
Yeah, totally. It's amazing. Yeah. Good pack.
So that's your first introduction to Kaladesh, isn't it, Deege?
Yeah. So I've seen other people sort of mucking around with their cards, but I haven't gone to any of the pre-releases or picked up a pack myself yet.
So I played pre-release. We did 2-headed giant, and we called ourselves Forcing Dwarves. And then we happened to open a pool that completely supported dwarves. So that messed with every opponent we ever went up against. So wait, you're playing a good dwarves pool? I'm like, yeah, we know. So I think we went 2-0-2, so 2 wins, 2 draws. But the standout of the whole thing was the Skyship, which we mentioned a couple of episodes back. We had one of those, and holy crap, does that card do work.
Is it totally worth it? It's the sort of game-changing card it was put out to be?
Yes, because we had a couple of creatures who could crew it that got benefits when they crewed it. So the one that gave it haste, the ones that when they became tapped dealt damage. It was just this perfect little combo out of dwarves. So dwarves is actually a viable deck both in draft and standard.
So on another kind of track, I was looking at Netflix the other day and saw that Luke Cage had been released. Now, I haven't actually watched it yet myself. I've still got a back catalogue of 1,000 things to watch. But when I do watch it, I'm really looking forward to it. Because I think I prefer Luke Cage and Daredevil and Jessica Jones, the TV series of the Marvel Universe, as opposed to the movies of Thor and Iron Man and stuff. I was thinking to myself, why do I like these ones more? And I think it's the human element. I think Jessica Jones is the standout for me. I really loved how it didn't feel to me like it was a comic book TV show. It felt to me like it was people being placed in this weird situation. So Jessica was really relatable. She was a person first, just a person with super strength. As opposed to, compared to the Hulk, he is a superhero through and through. What are your guys' thoughts? Do you prefer the realistic comic book stuff, or do you prefer the full-on high fantasy kind of,
So, I think every podcast so far I've managed to mention Iron Man. I'm pretty sure I'm 1-for-1 on that. So obviously, and I'm sitting here in an Avengers t-shirt, so obviously I love that stuff. And I find that a lot more escapism than the Netflix series.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is a lot of the reason why I watch that stuff. But Jessica Jones especially, that was such a well-written show. And I think that was, Daredevil did very well, but that was probably the first one to step in and approach it from a different angle, where it was, she has these powers and it's possibly the worst thing that happened to her. And she has an enemy that she can't beat just by a physical confrontation, which Marvel really hadn't attempted up until that point, except maybe the Mandarin. They hadn't done an enemy who was almost purely psychological, or literally psychological in Kilgrave's case. The only counter I would make is I think they really started to pick it up with Civil War. There was some really human, just spoilers for Civil War. At this point, come on. The final moments, the line of, but he killed my mum. You're it's irrelevant right now that he's in an armor suit and the other guy has a vibranium shield. There could be two guys in a playground. It didn't matter for the themes anymore, and I thought that was really clever. But I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah, I agree completely. I thought Civil War, I think, was the best movie in that series that I've seen. End of sentence. Just because, again, it dealt with that human element of fighting with people that you actually like. I actually found that theme really engaging to me because I could relate to it, I think.
So I'm actually pretty much on the fence for this. I love both sides of it. So I really love the crazy cinematic universe stuff. I loved the escapism in that because of my own problems. I find it very easy to go into something that's completely fantasy, and thus I read fantasy books and play a lot of video games. But I also really like these new TV series that are coming out that have really human aspects, and they portray the human feelings and they portray the people, not as some sort of individual who's above humanity. So I'm on the fence completely. I love both sides of it.
Can I just say you reminded me, Chidgey, of Dr. Manhattan in The Watchmen, where he, I think, shows that temptation that happens when you get superpowers. I'm speaking like I know from personal experience. It's not the case. But I love, again, that human element of how would your mind change if you were all-powerful? And the fact that he gradually lost his humanity was really cool.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to, is if you've got a level of intelligence or strength or something that's so far beyond the norm, how do you begin to see others? Do you begin to see them as inferior? Or is that a psychological thing? Is that how you're automatically wired to think you're superior slightly, but then you get something else? Or is it an over a long period you might begin, or do you just automatically keep yourself human like Superman? Superman always tries to be a human, but at the same time he tries to use his powers to save people, but he wants to be human essentially.
I was about to bring him up because I was going to say, these always turn into me complaining about Batman v Superman. But I wanted to see that explored in that movie so much. They set it up perfectly of the god versus the man, but the man is viewed as a god and the god is viewed as a man. And at no point did they really bother exploring that whatsoever. And it was really disappointing. Because Batman had that sort of, like, that symbol. Whereas Superman was just sort of seen, like, Superman was seen as a savior and Batman the Nightmare, where if anything, if you put it on paper, it's the other way around.
Yeah, so Batman is, essentially he's become an icon, so a lot of people view him almost as a god. He's something out there in the night, dangerous to people who are going to commit crimes, whereas everyone knows who Superman is, except for his hidden identity, but everyone knows that's Superman. No one really knows where Batman's going to strike. They don't see him coming at all, so it does really play with that whole human versus god complex.
But it was interesting because in that movie, the setup was that people didn't understand Superman's motivations and he was a ticking time bomb, and then they do nothing with that.
Yeah, and that's where it comes down to is who is Superman? If someone came to you and turned around and went, well, I'm actually an alien, how are you going to react to them?
And can I just say how fascinating it is that Marvel is nailing the human element of comic book characters over DC?
It really is interesting, yeah.
Yeah, like, you think Batman, he has no superpowers, yet he's so much less relatable to me than some of the Marvel over-the-top comic book characters are.
I mean, they're even building in, like, human relationships for Hulk, and not Bruce Banner, Hulk.
Yes.
Yeah, even in the end of The Last Avengers, he is calmed down a lot of the time by a simple song and things like that, which show that he has that level of humanity as the Hulk, not as Bruce Banner, but as his alias, as this beast that's made out of pure beta rays.
Gamma.
My bad.
Get it right, damn it.
I knew I was like, I blanked, let's just go with beta. Oh well.
Nerd rage, change the topic, quick.
So pulling it back round. Yeah, Marvel is really hitting it home with the TV series. I find it interesting that so you're saying, like, you would rank Daredevil, for example, higher than all the cinematic universe movies.
I think that I would. Perhaps it's just because I've had more time with Daredevil. But yeah, I definitely get into it more, I'd say.
I think so. I think Deege dislikes the thing is going to become a recurring segment. We happen to agree with him on this one.
Well, how many times does he dislike something?
Yeah, we're 3 for 3.
Yep. I honestly feel like I need protection at this point. I'm just enraging different aspects of the community every week.
It's okay, you're safe. I'm here.
Disturbing.
All right, so I think we're going to wrap up at this point. So thank you very much for listening again. Our next event is in 2 weeks. It's going to be in Croydon once again. It's going to be some form of Magic tournament. Of course, there's going to be a lot of board games and other events going on at the same time, so there's no need to be playing the Magic. We're also quite happy to teach you how to play, not in the tournament, on the outside. I find I'm starting to have more fun teaching the game to people than I am playing competitively. And, of course, if you've liked this content, please do all your subscriptions and so on. And if you were very unimpressed, I mean, do it anyway. It wouldn't hurt you. I mean, come on. You got to press our button. You don't even need to listen. Just click on it and press.
Look how few we get. Give us one more. We'll feel so much better.
Just click on it and then write Mark has listened. It's going to count. We'll be happy. Thank you, everybody. I've been Bryan.
I'm Chidgey.
And I'm Deege.
Thanks, everyone.